In order to command and control the operation, the incident manager has 4 groups that they work specifically with: planning, operations, admin, finance, and logistics. Today we're going to be talking about the planning section, specifically the planning meeting that's conducted during any operation.
The planning section chief conducts the planning meeting. The planning section chief will also keep the planning meeting short and on target. A normal planning meeting should last less than 30 minutes. If it's going more than 30 minutes, then we're probably getting too much into the weeds, and we need to get more onto target and make sure that we're discussing the things that need to be discussed. At the end of the planning meeting, what we should have is a completed incident action plan. It'll be reviewed and distributed to the rest of the team members. The purpose of the planning meeting is to gather the command and general staff together and review and finalize the incident action plan. Another purpose is to validate the operational plan as proposed by the operations section chief. After discussing all the control objectives and the entire IAP, the planning section chief will ensure that the incident action plan is signed and distributed to the Broward Emergency Response Team. Good morning, I'm the planning section chief for this meeting. This is the planning section meeting for the 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. incident action plan. The agenda for the meeting is we're going to go around to each section chief. I'd like you to give a brief of the significant issues within your section. After that, we'll go through the control objectives for the incident action plan and finalize those objectives for the IAP. So now I'm going to turn the meeting over to the incident commander for any opening remarks.
The incident manager, as set up in our incident command structure in Broward County, reports to the county administrator and receives input and provides briefing to the policy group. First of all, thank you all for being here. I appreciate the fact that we're all here on time. We got the meeting started on time. Just want to update you on what we've done with the policy group. We are moving forward in developing objectives, and my plan for this group now is to make sure we get input from everybody and then go out, set our objectives, and then roll them out to the entire floor.
Good morning. I hope you're all awake by now. The current situation is that we are experiencing clear weather, and we're expected to not have any heavy rains for the next 12 hours, which will probably be at the end of this operational period. The EOC is activated to a level 1 and is now fully staffed. Our neighbors to the north, south, Monroe, Miami-Dade, and Palm Beach are all activated to a level 1.
During the planning meeting, the operations section chief is responsible for reviewing the strategy and incident objectives and presenting the operational plan to accomplish the objectives. The operations section chief is also responsible for identifying critical resource needs in order to support the operational plan. These resource needs and the operational plan itself are in support of the major branches of the operations section, including the municipal services branch, emergency services branch, human services branch, and the infrastructure branch. Morning. Currently in the operations section, we're working several priorities. One is based on the numbers of levels 3 and 4 damage. We don't have sufficient numbers of search and rescue teams available, so we need to request that through the resources unit from the state using Constellation. We're also looking at some long-term recovery issues in terms of transitional housing, working with ESF 6 to identify any available housing stock within the county. So those are our biggest priorities in the operations section at this time.
The primary role of the logistics chief during the planning meeting is to ensure that the logistics section is able to meet the resources, service, and material needs to support the IAP during the next operational period. The logistics section is also responsible for services, particularly the county staging area and the emergency distribution center. So if we're in that phase of the operation where we're mobilizing those assets, then we need to keep everybody informed of the activities that are going on that side. The logistics section is also responsible for mission tracking. That involves maintaining all of the missions that are going into EM Constellation for state mutual aid and EMAC assistance, and also tracking the missions taking place within the EOC itself. So any important missions that are dragging behind or we're having issues trying to get complete need to be brought up during the planning meeting so that Incident Command and the planning section are aware of those issues. Logistics is also responsible for the EOC facility itself, so again, any issues that may exist related to that, to the EOC, should be brought up. Procurement is also a big piece of logistics responsibility. So if there's any issues that are taking place related to being able to obtain any of the resources or materials that we need in order to support the operations section, those need to be brought up at that time as well. Good morning. Logistics is dealing with a number of different issues. We've been working closely with operations and been in contact with the state about trying to get some additional search and rescue teams down here. Miami-Dade counties going through basically the same thing as we are right now, so none of their teams are available, so the state's looking at trying to bring some in from outside of the area. Additionally to that, yesterday we started to work to try to open up the CSA in order to receive commodities to distribute to the pods.
The Admin Finance Chief is responsible to provide cost implications of the objectives required, ensure that the incident action plan is within the financial limits established by the incident manager, and it's most noteworthy that the incident for this section is not over until all the paperwork is completed.
Right.
Okay, good morning. Finance Admin Section Chief reporting. The Employee Welfare Unit is working with the Personnel Branch, who's reported that 78 Broward County employees have relocated to shelters due to the damage of their home at this time. They've also reported that 23% of Broward County employees have not been located at this time. The Finance Branch is working with the Cost Unit and working with Logistics to identify the estimates for the requested resources, and we will have a full status report for the next reporting period. Any questions?
I am responsible for keeping the media up to date and to keep the public informed of what's occurring. I'm also responsible for providing the government, local government and state government informed of what's occurring during an incident or after.
Okay, I just got a couple questions for you, SF-14. Richard, how are we doing with the media releases? They going out on time? Are we having any problems with the media?
All media releases have been on time. We have notified state and county officials of the status of the county.
You're ready.
The planning section has developed some draft control objectives, and these control objectives deal with 1, life safety issues, 2, unmet needs, 3, CSA, 4, pod openings, and 5, shelter transition plan. Okay, the control objectives are complete. Are there any questions about any of the objectives or anything else we've discussed? Okay, in that case, the incident commander will review the final IAP and sign the IAP. We'll publish the IAP, and the operations brief is scheduled for 1 hour from now.
The planning meeting is core to making sure that we have the tools that we need, the information is gathered, put into the objectives, and that we know that they're the right objectives for the right time, and they're rolled out to the entire floor so that everybody will know where we're supposed to be going over the next 12-hour period.